we are going to talk about moms as CEOs because we all know that moms run the world, correct? Right? Everybody who's a mom, you're in charge. Or at least we know it's going to be a better place when moms can run the world. But in the meantime, moms are all really busy people and they need the right technology to help them out in their daily lives and to run their families. So here's a peek at some new products and tips to help get them to busy moms. And here's Carley Knobloch, founder and CEO herself of Digitwirl.
Thank you. You can clap. That's okay. Go on and clap. Hi. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's so close to the end of the day. I know we're all just, I don't know about you, my feet are just, I'm not sure that they know what's happening, but there's a lot of walking here at CS. Thanks for being patient while we get everything set up. I am Carley. Welcome to Moms as CEO of the household. I think we all can probably relate to that statement. If we're not moms ourselves, we might have an intimate relationship with one, and we know that there's a lot on their plate. They're trying to manage life in this modern world that we live in, and I like to think of it as managing their digital life, like what the digital world has done to our photos, our movies, our music, internet safety, file backup, all that stuff that we didn't have to think about not so long ago, and then managing our lives digitally. So schedules and groceries and paying bills and everything in between. There's now some kind of product or service that could help you do all of that more easily and save time and money. So what is it? Who's going to show it to me? Does it really work? Is it really worth me adopting? These are all the things that moms are starting to ask. So we've come kind of far from being able to just keep a nice house and make a nice dinner, although of course we're always also expected to do that as well. So today we're going to learn about some products that, in my opinion, and services that I think are doing a really good job at solving the problems of modern day women. And we're also going to learn about some research that really talks about how women are researching and shopping for these items and what is influencing those purchases. And we're also going to talk about best practices about how to reach that market, because of course it doesn't matter how great your product is. If you don't have the right messaging, you're not going to reach your customer. And so what's really working and what's not working for these companies that are trying to reach this influential and often very savvy and sometimes skeptical market, especially when it comes to corporate messaging. So if you don't know who I am, I got a brief introduction, but I'm Carley. I started a weekly web show called Digitwirl.com, which serves to help women learn about products and services that can help them save time, save money, or simplify their life in some way. Born out of my belief that it is every woman's inalienable right to have gadgets and apps help them manage their life. We all need a lot of help in this realm, and there's an army of services and products that are waiting to make lives easier. So I like to find them and share them with my audience. And we have a weekly show that you can subscribe to at Digitwirl.com. Check it out. Okay, so I'm going to introduce my panel really briefly, and then I'm going to give them an opportunity to share with you their product, their service, and their fascinating research. So really quickly, I'm going to let you know who is sitting to my left. Elisa actually is in the center. Elisa is one of the co-founders of BlogHer, which is a huge women's blogging network. And she co-founded BlogHer in 2005 with Joy Desjardins and Lisa Stone, and she serves as the company's COO. She leads events, marketing, public relations, and research for the company. And with her leadership, the BlogHer conference business has grown from a single conference hosting 300 attendees in 2005 to a series of diverse events that has hosted over 5,000 attendees in 2011, which is pretty darn awesome. At the very end is Joanne Lang, And Joanne Lang is a mom of 4 and the founder and CEO of AboutOne, which you guys are going to hear about in just a minute. It's an online organizer that not only replaces the filing cabinets, notebooks, and various tools that families use to store household information, but it also saves time by automatically organizing that information so it's useful and it's readily available. And then Greg Duffy, to my immediate left, is the CEO and co-founder of Dropcam. And Dropcam Greg created Dropcam as a way to allow people to check in on what they care about anytime and from anywhere. And while at CES, Dropcam has launched the Dropcam HD, which is the world's smallest Wi-Fi video monitoring camera, which has myriad applications. Oh, see Exhibit A. Myriad applications in the home, from spying on your dog when you're not there to making sort of a front door security system or checking on your baby while they're sleeping. I think the possibilities are endless, and I'm a fan of the product. So without any further delay, let's have Joanne actually speak about AboutOne.
So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joanne Lang, and I'm the founder of AboutOne.com. Actually, if you just want to go to the next one. I'm also a mom of 4 boys under the age of 8. And a few years ago, if you can keep going to the next one, thanks. A few years ago, I had my public friends, I guess because they own your data, in Facebook. I had my career in LinkedIn, and I was a working mom. And but there was nothing in the middle that managed the things that helped my life run smoothly: my home, my vehicles, and my friends and family in a private way. And a series of events happened to me, and I can't go through them all now because we don't have time, but the most prominent was my second son got very, very sick, and there was an ambulance and a paramedic, and the paramedic asked me to provide information about my son, and I couldn't because it was organized in my house, in a filing cabinet, in Outlook, on the side in my kitchen, and so I couldn't provide the information that I needed because of all the information. There was just an overload. I couldn't provide the information at the time that I needed it the most. Because of that experience, I thought my son was going to die. It was an overwhelming experience for me as a mom. And actually, he's fine now, so I don't want anyone in the audience to worry. But because of that experience, I knew I needed to do something. And I worked in cloud technology. I was on the original cloud technology team with a company called SAP. And so I knew I'd watched businesses take advantages from technology for years, and I wanted to have those same advantages for my family with cloud and mobile. So I developed AboutOne.com. So it's a tool to get organized. It's really a get organized game. We turned being organized with your personal and household information into a game. There's steps that you take to get organized and you're rewarded, but it uses it from your mobile, your calendar, your Google Calendar, your Outlook calendar, and your contacts. We merged them all together into one place. And I think that's you can see the view on the screen, but that's my introduction. So thank you for having me.
Great. Super. Greg, why don't you go next and talk about Dropcam?
All right. So you guys may have noticed I'm not a mom. However, I do have a mom, and she's a very lovely lady, and she is definitely the CEO of the household. So one of the things my mom has always wished for, and it's probably partially because of me, is eyes in the back of her head. So that's actually what Dropcam does. We go even a little bit further. Dropcams are these little Wi-Fi cameras that you can get on your Wi-Fi network really easily, because moms don't have time to set up these things. We don't want them to have to think about IP addresses or routers or any of this kind of crazy stuff. You can get on your Wi-Fi network. All you need to know is your Wi-Fi password. Then you can view it from anywhere in the world. So you set it up in your home, wherever your kids are, maybe in the living room, maybe pointing out the front door to see if they're coming home safe from school. And you can view it from your PC, your Mac, your Android, your iPhone, from anywhere in the world. Just get it on your Wi-Fi network. There's no additional setup. So it's a pretty cool device. And 2 days ago, we actually launched our latest piece of hardware, which is this Dropcam HD. It's the smallest Wi-Fi camera in the entire world. This is it right here. And it's actually HD, so you see lots of detail. If you want the technical details of it, it's 720p, so just like an HD television. And it's got night vision. So now mom not only has eyes in the back of her head, but she can see in the dark. So, kids better watch out. It's also got two-way audio. So actually had a lot of moms coming up to me at our booth in the North Hall here, and they were saying, you know what, this is perfect because my kids come home from school and they start watching TV, and I want them to do their homework. So now with the Dropcam HD, you can actually get on your iPhone, see what your kids are doing in the living room. If they're not doing their homework, you can actually yell at them through the camera. So you don't even have to be there. And they're going to wonder where the voice is coming from. It's like the voice of God, but it's the voice of mom. And you're going to be able to set them straight.
Thing.
I believe it. So the Dropcam HD, the other amazing thing about it is the price. So it's only $149. This is a completely independent Wi-Fi camera. You just set it up in your home. Like I said, it takes 2 minutes, and you can view it from anywhere. And we also offer recording plans, so you can get video evidence of them doing the stuff that you know they're doing, and you can actually use it against them, afterwards. When they say, no, I didn't say that, you can just play back the video. So this is definitely a cool tool for moms, and in part I designed it for my mom as well as my dad because they had actually played around with these types of systems before, and they were always really hard to set up. And the Dropcam is really, really easy to set up because you got like 15 minutes between the soccer game and the movie theater. You don't have time to deal with this stuff. So that's what we do. We take care of it for you. All right.
That's great, Greg.
Thanks.
Just before we move on to Alyssa's research, I wanted to head back to this slide, which I quickly skipped over, and just make sure that if you wanted to know about, maybe, Joanne, you could just really briefly speak to this.
Oh, this is full mobile. This is actually my favorite screen. This is showing an offline view of your family that has your emergency information, so you can get to it at any point in time. So it's an output of the system. But this was just, you can come to this is just where we're located in the North Hall if you want to visit us to find out more information. Or you can contact me or tweet me as well, if you like to.
I just want to make sure people could get your information since I had to whip through that.
No problem, thank you.
Okay, take it away.
Great. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Elisa Camahort Page. I'm the co-founder of BlogHer. As Carley said, I'm also not a mom. So, but I know lots of them. I work with lots of them. BlogHer, in addition to our conferences and our publishing network and web community, has been doing proprietary research for the last, we'll be doing our 5th annual study this winter of social media usage. But in the last 12 to 18 months, we started branching out. The social media study is extremely high level. What are women using? How much are they using it? What are their general behaviors and motivations? And we trend it over time. And we use both the general population sample and a BlogHer network sample to sort of compare and contrast. Over the last 12 to 18 months, we've started looking into verticals and looking into specialty topics. And over the last year, we did a beauty focus study, we did an automotive focus study, and we just released this morning our consumer electronics focus study. And we're seeing some definite trends coming from the annual study at the beginning of the year through those verticals. We can see some trends happening about how moms are looking for information and how they're helping their own purchasing process online, but also their attitudes, the nuance between information, influence, and trust, and all of these things, and how that works with online spaces. So if you go, I'll just briefly go through the key findings. One of the things that we're really seeing, despite all the gorgeous TVs that I know are down there on the floor, if a woman had to choose, and in these economic times, some women do have to choose, since our laptops and computers and mobiles are becoming media devices themselves, those would be the indispensable items. TV was the most distant third this year than it's ever been. When we asked women to pick 2 out of a range of devices that were most indispensable, the computers and laptops were up at 80-85%, mobiles and smartphones right around 80%. The TV came in third at only 29% for the general population of women. And we let people pick multiple, thinking, okay, well, they'll pick one sort of communication and productivity device, and they'll pick the TV. Because TV is still the most consumed media, people still watch more TV than anything, but they can do it. It's now, the media doesn't rely on a particular mechanism. So that's something that we've seen trending over time, and it's becoming almost more extreme. The second finding is that consumer electronics purchases, to a greater degree, every vertical we've looked at, people look online. They research online, they shop online if they can find better prices there. Online is a huge driver. Consumer electronics is to an even greater degree. And what we're finding is that there is, manufacturers and retailers have a missed opportunity. They are still a very, very top information source online. When we ask people where they go for information, it's blogs, it's forums, sometimes if it's a technical device, it's sites like CNET or Jalopnik, vertical focused, and it is manufacturers' websites. But then when we ask them, okay, you've picked these as your information sources, how influential is each one? In every case, the only difference in order that happens, usually if you use something a lot, it's because you trust it a lot, and that's always going to come out about the same. Our last two vertically focused studies on pretty technical products, automotive and consumer electronics, saw the manufacturer's website drop to the bottom when it came to assigning influence to it. So we go to it for the specs, we go to it for the information, but the trend we've seen over the last 12 to 18 months is we don't trust corporate messaging. We will trust any user experience, people like me messaging. The most trusted messaging from a corporate site is when they include user testimonials. But user testimonials on a corporate site are not trusted as much as user testimonials out on the user site, because we don't know if people are, playing a little fast and loose. So this becomes it's a huge opportunity for manufacturers and retailers because we still go to your sites, but we're not always getting everything we want, which is not just user testimonials, but links to real people's testimonials out where they are. Lastly, we asked about marketing and we asked about mobile usage. No surprise, mobile usage is huge. Now, people don't identify mobile apps or mobile content as an information source for buying consumer electronics. Only 15% of people said that they turned to it, they had ever used mobile apps in a consumer electronics purchase process. But they do use the mobile to do the shopping. So it's almost 70% of adults 48 and under use mobile. We also see some ethnicity differences with African Americans and Asians, very heavy mobile users compared to Hispanics and Caucasians. So up at 70% versus 50 to 58%. Another really interesting thing is that African Americans identify as leading edge and early adopter. 50% identifies one of those two groups. That is significantly more than any other ethnic group. The majority identify as price conscious. I buy when I can get a great deal. And that's the majority response from all groups. But to, in addition, have so many African Americans identifying as early adopter and leading edge, it's a huge opportunity there. They are very, very interested in the latest products. It was really quite striking. The other things we saw about age were that obviously the younger generations rely way more on what we love about our mobile devices. They love games and apps more than the older generations. That's a very, big thing for them. The other thing we noticed finally is that the number one identified marketing approach was come find me where I am. Come market your product at the websites, forums, and blogs that I already frequent. That trumped even give me discounts. That was the number two. We asked which marketing approach will give you a favorable impression of a consumer electronics brand. Discounts was number two. Just coming out to where I am, that was number one. So I think building awareness is actually still a totally relevant approach that people care about, especially when you're talking about tech products where they're interacting out on probably tech-savvy sites. And they don't want it just to be vertical sites. They just want you to be where they are. So those were, probably went on a little longer than I was supposed to, but those were some of our key findings. We did release the full study this morning at blogher.com/research. So, and we have all our older studies there too. But some interesting, and these are all been trending in these directions for 12 to 18 months, and I don't think those trends are going anywhere.
It's really valuable information, I think, for anyone in the room who's trying to market to this market. What I find fascinating, something that you shared with me about the research, is that bloggers and their influence trumps even friends. So it's this really interesting spectrum where we don't trust corporate messaging, but we're not even looking to the people that we know well, as much as we're looking to kind of this intermediate on the spectrum expert, not someone that we know, but somebody that we've learned to trust over time because we read them and we kind of know how they think. And
it depends on the product, but there is an intersection of relationship, influence, and experience. And the experience used to, expertise used to mean an expert. Expertise now means I've experienced it. So when I shopped for my car, the guy who writes for Car and Driver had the car for a week, and that's interesting, and I'm sure he tested out all the specs. But I have had bad experience with car dealers. I have my own particular kind of commute. I'm a short woman. All these things kind of play into, I don't think this person, expert though he may be, is really going to give me all the information I want. So there's this intersection. Now, when you have relationship experience and totally forgot my
influence.
Yes, if you have it all in the same place, in the same person, that's the most. That has the most influence on people when the three factors are together, and sometimes that's a real life person. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's someone you know online. Because and especially the younger you are, the less you see a bifurcation between online friends and offline friends. That's definitely changing for even many adults now. They consider their online friends real, and they come to places like this increasingly, to meet them. And then there's that real life connection as well.
That's great. Thank you. Greg, let's shift gears for a second and talk about your packaging and messaging. So we're looking at the 2.0 version of your product, right?
That's right.
And I've noticed a lot of revamping from the logo to the product design to the packaging to the messaging to the colors and everything. So maybe you can speak a little bit to what you've learned over the last year since you released the first product, or has it been a year or slightly longer?
Yeah, it's about a year and a half.
Yeah. So what have you learned, and how has that influenced the current design of Soup to Nuts?
Well, let me tell you one of the best decisions that we made, which was hiring our lead designer, Melissa McLean. We needed a woman's touch in the company, and she completely redid all of the design for the package, the website, everything, color palette for the product. I have the package here. And one of the things that I worked on with Melissa was actually making sure that the tech specs were buried. And we talked instead about the benefits. Because like I said, moms don't have a lot of time. You got to decide, do I need this product? Does it do what I need it to do? Can I view it on my phone? You don't really care what type of Wi-Fi it is, as long as it works with your Wi-Fi network. Now, this is not to say that moms aren't tech savvy. They'll go look at the tech specs afterwards. But first, you need to get past the mental barrier of, do I even need this thing? I don't have any time. Tell me why I need this. And that's what we're doing here. So there's all the detail for them to dive down into. And we just bring the most important stuff to the front of the package. And I think that time-saving aspect of doing that is really helping us out.
Yeah.
If I could just add, that what you said is, I'm so glad you said that, because when, for instance, we did some ethnography around a shopping study, and the woman said, look, I know this many megapixels is bigger than that, and that's going to get me, I get that. I get, I understand specs are important, but tell me if I blow this picture up to be poster size for my daughter's room, is it going to look fine? So, again, you're just exactly right. It's not that women and moms in general don't understand the meaning of specs, don't care about specs. It's just they want to get to the meat first, like that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And truly, we are seeing a lot of moms purchasing our product, and not the dads in the family. And this tells you in the first place that they're tech savvy, because they actually figure out, yeah, I do want a Wi-Fi camera to watch my kids. And we just try to make the packaging and everything about the way that we sell the product tailored to getting them that first bit of information of, do I want this product? What problems does it solve for me? And then once we give them that information, they can dive in and get all the details.
Yeah, I think it's really smart. It's something that we do on Digitwirl a lot. And again, that's really my rant is women are not tech challenged, they're time challenged. And so you need to make it abundantly clear to me in a split second. And I think it's a good rule for any packaging, for any homepage of a site, a product or service. How is this going to help me? What's in it for me? And pages and pages of features come later. You have to distill down to how is this going to save me time, money, allow me to be with my family more, allow me to take deeper breaths, whatever it is that the benefit of your product is. That's really where you have to lead. And I do think it's great that you had a female in residence finally come in and help. And I deal with a lot of companies that are marketing to moms that don't have not even a female, less a mom, in-house to really explain the use case, the point of view. So it's a smart move.
And she was only the first. She wasn't the last. We really think about ourselves as a family company. And when we design our product and when we hire our employees, we try to think about ways that we can make both working for Dropcam really nice for a family experience, give people vacation time so they can spend time with their kids. And even when we design the product, we try to think about how we can make it easier for families. So like you can share your Dropcam with multiple people, but only the people that you choose. So it's private by default. In fact, it's very secure. It's more secure than the standard video baby monitor because it uses the same encryption that your bank uses to secure your bank accounts for every bit of video that leaves the camera. But you can decide who you want to share it with, and that's great for families because people want privacy, but within your family, you want everybody to be able to access it.
That's great. Joanne, I think one of the problems that plague people who build web apps is abandonment. So people sign up, and then maybe they don't ever come back to use it, or they don't use it in the way that could really benefit them, or they just kind of drop the whole thing and forget about it because of all the clutter and all the noise. So you have come up with and developed some really imaginative and super smart ways to engage with your users and keep them coming back and get them actually excited about organizing, which I think is sort of difficult thing to do for people. So I'd love for you to share some of the things that are built into AboutOne to help solve that problem.
So first of all, for lessons learned when we built the app, it really goes back to something they were talking about before. As the audience, my audience was typically moms. It's also dads. We had many dads complain that we marketed only to moms. But first of all, it had to be fast and easy to get started. It was exactly the same as the Dropcam. It needs to be a few minutes to get started, and you need to tell me the time. Give me the time on the screen and tell me how many steps is this and how many minutes will it take me to do, and break it down into small pieces. The other thing was it has to be mobile. Those were my two biggest lessons learned. I don't know if anyone in this room is looking to build an app or start a technology company. The two things for me were mobile, and it has to be very, very fast to get started. And when you use the system, it needs to have interesting and useful alerts. So it needs to tell me a few weeks before it's a doctor's appointment, or would you like to buy a gift, and which gift would you like to buy? So it needs to take the information in the system and alert me at the right time when I'm thinking about that piece. I'm in the doctor's waiting room, give me a text to tell me to do something with it. So it's the timeliness and the amount of time it will take me to do something that needed to be built into our application. The final thing that I thought was very interesting was they would like to be rewarded. So tell me the steps that I need to do to be organized, and if you can reward me with gift cards, I would be very, very happy about that. But the main two things for me, if I was doing this again right from the beginning, would be fast and easy to get started with the time, and mobile. Those are my two biggest tips from developing a tech product for moms.
That's great, thank you. Let's play like a quick fire round, and then I want to open up for questions from the audience. So maybe we could start with Greg and go down, and each of you could talk about something that you did online to either generate great conversation or to acquire users or purchasers that just really, really worked in like a sentence. And maybe, Elisa, you could talk about a brand that just nailed it with with a campaign that ran on BlogHer.
Well, we got reviewed by Carley from Digitwirl, which that was pretty awesome.
That's ridiculous.
Well, actually, the best thing that we ever did to market Dropcam and we've been doing this for a few years now. This is our latest product, but you've always been able to do this, is we made it really easy to share a video. And this is really great because, this is basically America's Funniest Home Videos generator. You're going to put it in your home, and all the funny things that happen at your, family reunions, the funny things your kids say, you're going to have it, and you can export those clips and keep them forever, and you can easily share them on Facebook and YouTube and all kinds of things. A lot of people think about Wi-Fi cameras as security cameras, but the majority of our users are not using them that way. It turns out that if you do set up a camera in your home and you use it to keep track of your kids, and something bad happens, you'll catch it on the Dropcam, and that works. But most people are primarily setting it up to keep track of their family. And then you get all sorts of fun moments that happen in 2 clicks to get it to YouTube or Facebook, share it with your family and friends. And the great thing for us is we make that so easy to do, not just because it's a great feature for our users, that's the primary reason, but it helps get the word out there about Dropcam. And you always want to make the product functionality drive users into your system. So you don't want to have something that, if we just had a button that said, share Dropcam on Facebook so that people will buy it, nobody would want to do that. That's a favor. Yeah. But instead, we give them functionality that makes them want to share.
That's great. Virality, really important. Cool.
So, BlogHer has been around since before Twitter, since before Facebook was opened up to those of us who the younger folk call the creepies. We've seen this evolution of social media, and the most important thing that we've discovered through both action and what we do and our research is that social media is not a monolithic block of tools that you treat the same because people go there for the same reasons. There's actually really nuanced different ways. People use Facebook to keep in touch with friends and family and to have fun. So brands should be on Facebook, but they should be delivering a fun experience, or they should be relating like humans that can create a relationship. People say, yeah, I want discounts from brands on Facebook because that's all brands are doing. But we find, like, when we're trying to market our own content, we also find a real difference between what clicks on Twitter versus Google Plus versus Facebook. It's very different. On Facebook, their kids might see what they share. So, people don't really understand well enough, and I know I don't, where everything you do goes. So the really kind of sexy stuff doesn't click on Facebook. Twitter, it's all about controversy, sexy, politics, heated. Facebook, you can have great conversations, but it has to be about fairly, no one would be embarrassed to be caught discussing it, and you get that comment. Like once we posted a post from our sex and relationships category on our Facebook, and some people gave us a hard time about it, and we were like, well, we represent the whole woman, and the whole woman likes sex, so there's going to occasionally be a sex story. And the headline has to be explicit enough so you know not to click on it if you're going to be offended. So we can't kind of hide it. So you have to think about the nuance of why people go to different places and therefore what kind of interaction they want to have with you when they're there.
I can tell you very simply what drove traffic to my site and what drove good users was referrals from top mom bloggers. So Cool Mom Pics did a referral. We had thousands of people visit our site, thousands of people sign up. And we were signing up more than mint.com per day at one point in time, if that is interesting for people. So we had reviews and referrals on sites like Cool Mom Pics, Simple Moms, Simple Mom. And then the other thing that we did that has been my godsend, to be honest, was we hired mums to work with us on PR. So they would contact the different magazine companies and their connections, and they would talk about us and on a regular basis, and that led to reviews and adverts and television interviews that I could have never dreamed of. So those were the things that worked for me, and that's what led traffic to my site and some of the good users that we have right now.
Great, thank you so much. I think we're going to open up for just a couple minutes of questions. In the back? Hi.
Hi, I'm Brad Behrens with BNP Events, and this is for Mr. Duffy. I'm curious, do the kids have rights to privacy? I'm a dad. Thank you. I'm a dad. It doesn't work. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm a dad. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. My 10-year-old daughter would be completely mortified if I put something that happened to her when she was not expecting to be filmed
onto Facebook. And you've got the from big brother to big mother question happening, I think. So what's your responsibility as an owner and a technologist to try to inculcate the right kind of attitudes? Because children have, they should at least have a discussion about their own privacy.
So the best answer that I can give this to you, that I can give for you on this question is that actually parents are really good at managing this for themselves, and it's actually not really my business to tell people, how to parent their kids. But what we've seen in the majority of cases is that where people put a drop cam is usually in a public place, in the house. So the living room, things like this. So we're not talking about, putting them in places where kids do have an expectation of privacy from, pretty much a very young age, in my opinion. So I think that moms and dads are really good at telling what their kids are going to be okay with and what they're not going to be okay with. And we have parents who, when their kids become teenagers, they want to stop them from having parties while they're gone on vacation. And some parents would think that's too strict, and some don't. So it's really up to the parents to decide. And we give them a tool that they can use how they see fit. And we kind of try to get out of their way, but in my experience, most parents are very respectful of their kids' privacy. So they're not doing something where they're taking something their child would be embarrassed by and posting it to YouTube or something like that. It's like moments from a birthday party that they share on Facebook with just their friends. So I think this is very well self-managed, just how you would expect like a camcorder being held in a hand to be used at the right times. You can expect a drop cam to be used at the right times. It's also really easy to turn a drop cam off remotely, so you don't even have to touch the camera. You can turn streaming on and off. So when it's appropriate, you can have it on. When it's not, you can turn it off. And you can do that from any of our mobile apps and the website really easily from anywhere in the world.
We've run out of time for additional questions, but I think all of our panelists will make themselves available in the hallway if you guys have anything you'd like to ask us. And I want to thank you guys all for coming.